I wish I could say I have endless memories of you playing with me as a child. Memories of games of make-believe, you reading to me or chasing me. But I remember you chasing men more than any amount of quality time you ever invested in me. Yes, you always made sure I had clothes, food, a roof over my head, but wasn't that a requirement? You decided to keep a child when you were merely a child. Maybe you resented me for having to grow up so soon. Maybe it wasn't actually what you wanted, but you did out of religious values. Whatever your feelings, I was the one punished for them. I was an emotionally neglected child, labeled sensitive and overly dramatic. I wanted for naught, except your time. Your reminders of you working overtime so I could have everything I'd ever need or desire endlessly looped in my mind. You'd come home exhausted and frustrated that your daughter didn't do more to help around the house while you were gone busting your ass. I'd internalize it all, replaying the name calling, the shame. Why was I so lazy and selfish? Was I truly useless? Could this be the reason my dad wanted nothing to do with me? Was I to blame? Fast forward to my little brother being born. I became mom's #1 helper. I was determined to make your life easier, as I could see how difficult it was for you, being a single mother. Less than 3 years later, we had been invited to move in with your boyfriend. Ex-boyfriend? You guys dated for a bit, then broke up. He admitted it was a mistake and wanted to give it another go. This time, he wanted to fully devote. Before you gave him an answer, though, you wanted my opinion. A 6th grader at the time who spent her daily lunch period isolated in the library, hiding from the world as I was being bullied by former friends. A fresh start would be wish fulfillment, so I encouraged you to go for it. The next 2.5 years were some of the most hellish. Your union was much more sinister than what the surface alluded. During this time, my fear of you grew and a deep desire to be nothing like you debuted. Outwardly, two people both with a past of failed relationships turning a new cheek and choosing to believe in love. Realistically, two flawed, deeply broken people in need of healing, turning to alcohol and raging against each other every weekend after the simultaneous deaths of parents. Watching two adults who claim to be in love spit hatred in each other's faces and bring out the absolute worst in the other made me question what constituted love. I fought for you and took your side when an altercation between the two of you would arise, but when you'd go after my brother, I'd finally say enough. When I'd call you out on your alcoholism, you'd escalate and be viscerally angry. You could be so aggressive and scary. I told you I wasn't afraid even though I was. I'd run upstairs in fear, lock my door, and lie under my covers blasting music until night disappeared. The next day you'd be hungover and wouldn't remember a thing. But I did. I couldn't unsee it, couldn't release it. The drunken rages weren't something that could just stop occurring. Not as long as you remained married, not as long as you continued the numbing. How easily the facade of a happy family was conjured, sharing vacation photos on the internet to keep the image fostered. The longer it went on, the more alone I felt. I started to cut to give myself a sense of control. I read books about girls who wanted to end themselves because I related but couldn't tell a soul. I wanted a way out, but there was no escape. So I began to journal my feelings. I should have known better, know where it was safe. Privacy was a luxury I was never extended. You confronted me about my journal and immediately laid on the guilt. I cried and shut down because how could I ever admit to my only active parent that I didn't feel safe in my own home? And then the next day, we went on like we always did. During conflict, it would be walking on eggshells, but come daylight, your anger would subside. Expectations were to move on, let go, never talk and repair. In your eyes, all was well, yet there was still ice in the air. A heavy pressure in my chest and throat, weighing me down like soaked, sticky clothes after walking through a humid rainstorm. But I knew better, kept my head down, tail between legs. If I ignored the pain, kept myself busy, it wouldn't consume me. The divorce and moving cities was a great distraction. I reinvented myself multiple times. I focused on friends, boys, and busying my mind. So why was I still not happy when I was told I should be? What I know now that I didn't then was that I desired a deeper connection. I needed to be seen fully and unconditionally loved. I wanted you to encourage me to pursue my own interests, not pressure me to do what you wish you could have done. You taught me being desired was more important than being authentically myself. You encouraged me to starve my body, not blatantly, but by your example. If a girl was mean to me, she was jealous. If a boy broke my heart, what did I expect? There was no empathy or compassion for me or others, just complete disconnect. There's an irony in the desire for adoration from the very people you demonize. I had unintentionally morphed myself into someone I believed held love in your eyes. I became chronically anxious about seeming perfectly put together. I was not safe to freely be me or explore whoever that was. I was taught love was transactional, people disposable. Gift giving was your love language, yet your gifts never came freely. Your contributions silently demanded submission and expected conformity. Your word had no incontestability. If I ever tried to hold a boundary, create some sort of autonomy, cue the silent treatment or tactics of manipulation, no space could be given after years of parentification. Passive aggression was your way of communication. I realized how unhealthy it was, how truly infuriating. I could no longer tolerate the disrespect. I had only allowed it for as long as I did because you were my parent. I made excuses for your behavior because I empathized, but my perspective has since transcribed. I have my own baggage, some of it handed to me by you, yet I know where I fall short and I am willing to put in the work. So yes, mother, you may have never hit me hard enough to break my bones, but you broke my spirit long before I could ever leave your home. You discounted my pain because you could not see it, but I know now I don't need your validation in order to heal it. I'm coming into my own power and ceasing cycles that had previously continued. Even though you traumatized me, I hope one day I can forgive you. Not for you, but for myself, so I can finally let go of this resentment and pain. I'm learning to speak my truth unashamedly and without censor. I will withhold my voice no longer.